S&OP Community Weekly Podcast. Brought to you by Ahmed Khalid and Ahmed Al-Hamamsi from Middle East. Our global S&OP Community Podcast mission is to build a global community from supply chain, marketing, trade marketing, sales and finance all over the world, where everyone's voice could be heard and listened. Every week, we host a new episode with great thought leader in the S&OP industry. We believe that one word, one story, or one conversation could open up the light in the screen of your consciousness and you'll never be the same again. We discuss hot and trending topics with our subject matter experts by asking the right questions that uncover their valuable experience in our show. You can visit our website ahmedkhaled.co. Stay tuned every week with our global S&OP community podcast.
Hello, and welcome everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for joining our global S&OP community podcast. We're so glad to have you all. And as you know, our global S&OP community is not only for supply chain, it's all for supply chain, for marketing, trade marketing, finance, for everyone, where everyone voice can be listened to and heard. And as you know, our mission is to interview executives, CEOs, and interviewing thought leaders from all over around the globe. Our mission is to uncover their value to people and to give people value, hopefully value through our podcast. And of course, we're so glad to have you all today. And today we have a very special guest, and my brother Ahmed Khalid, the co-host here, will tell us more about our great guest.
Thank you, Hamamsi, again. And I think let's start something new in this podcast. Last time I had an interview with Anya Razina, and I think I found that myself I'm not good in geography. So I'm asking
Yeah.
everyone who's listening right now, and especially flags, can you let us know where are you from? Where are you tuning in from? Just put your flag and let's play this guess game based on our experience. So we'll
That's
be
nice.
jumping, yeah, because
I'm good
it's
with
some.
geography.
So let's test ourselves. So let's jump into our lovely episode today. In fact, our topic today is very niche oriented and a lot of values to be revealed today. Our topic today will be around the perishable products and how supply chain play a key role in shaping the demand and at the same time also optimizing the service. For those who may not know what is the meaning of perishable products, it's simply any product which has a very short and limited lifetime. This could be including foods, beverages, dairy products, and sometimes even pharmaceuticals products. And I want you just little bit to ponder with me. I want you to imagine with me a product that has a shelf lifetime of 7 days from production till the expiry. How supply chain could be responsive and at the same time avoiding any business waste in their inventory due to the expiries. Simply, if we produce more than the demand, definitely it will be expired and for sure it will dilute the profit margins of the organization. And I want you also to think with me about the normal route to market to any perishable products. And let's ponder together right now a little bit about the cumulative lead time end to end for those products. Firstly, I want you to start with me from the production. First, the first the lead time in the beginning of the supply chain, which will be from the upstream side production lead time. It means that a product could be transported after the production. You will have a transportation to the main warehouse inside the organization. So this will be including the inbound transportation lead time. What about, I want you to think also the lead time for the inbound for the warehouse. This is definitely in addition to the storage time till receiving an order. I'm telling from the organization till the distributor, till receiving an order from distributor in case of the make to stock operation model. Then I want you to ponder with me also. We have outbound lead time to load those products on the fleet, whether it's container, trucks. Definitely, there will be a selling lead time from the warehouse to the distributor. And the cycle for the inbound storage outbound will be repeated again and again from the distributor to the retailer. There is also a missing element here, which is the retail inventory cover for those perishable products, especially for those customers that they own their distribution to their stores. Can you imagine with me all of these lead times, all of these cumulative lead times for a product that has a shelf lifetime of 7 days? How the supply chain should be responsive, and how can we overcome all of this? Can you imagine with me the challenge that the supply chain could face, especially dealing with those perishable products? And if you want to know how to deal with those perishable supply chains and how to unlock all the potential opportunities inside it, then today you're in a safe hand. Do you know why you're in a safe hand? Because we have a very special guest who will uncover all of those values today with us. Our guest today is Tarek Kassab. And Tarek Kassab is a supply chain professional with more than 17 years of just extensive experience working at leading fast-moving consumer goods corporation within just America, North America, Europe, Africa, and Middle East. Tarek, he is specialized in the areas of S&OP, integrated business planning, innovation management, supply planning, demand planning, customer relationship management, transportation network, and warehousing and inventory management. This is definitely beside the being specialized in our topic today, which is how to manage the perishable products. Without just more introduction, I think that we can speak about Tarek a lot and a lot. So just let's seize this moment and welcome our guest today, Tarek Kassab. And before we welcome Tarek, as usual, let's give him the normal applause. Hello, Tarek.
Tarek.
Hello, Ahmed. Hello, Ahmed. Thank you very
Well,
much for the nice applause. Really flattered.
it's a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having
Thank you.
your valuable time. And I think that today we have a very unique episode because it's very irritating and it's very challenging. A lot of values to be revealed today. But before we jump into our core
Let's
topic,
go to our
let's,
audience. Yeah.
yes, because I think that there are some flags and we need to guess a little bit. Okay.
Yes.
Sure, sure.
Let's
Go
So,
ahead.
go.
our friend Vipin, good afternoon. Thank
Hi,
you, Vipin,
Vipin.
for your
Thank
time.
you for
Thank you so much
joining
for
us.
tuning in. Our lovely friend Sharmila, hello. Thank you
Hi,
so much for
Sharmila.
tuning in. Mahmoud Bari, good evening from Riyadh. Nice to meet you. Thank you
Hello.
so much, Mahmoud, for tuning in. I think just our friend Ahmed Qasem, I think this is the common flag between
Hello.
all of us, Ahmed and Tariq and me, which is Egypt right now. So this is
Yes.
Egypt
Exactly.
flag. And our friend Dasneed Singh, I think it's Canada, right?
Canada, I think. Yeah.
Canada. Thank you so much for tuning in. Our friend Tarek Ilhami, good evening. Great to hear. Thank you so much, Tarek, for
Thank
tuning
you,
in.
Tarek.
Our friend Jocelyn Lee I think it's USA, right? Can you
Yeah,
see
she's
it?
from you. So she's from USA. Yeah, I can see.
Thank you so much,
She
Celine.
share the flag.
Yes. So you make it easy for us, Olga. Thank you so much from
From
Ecuador because I
Ecuador.
think
Thank
it
you.
will be very difficult for the flag. Thank you so much for tuning in, Olga. Our friend Tarek Ilhami, for sure, Egypt. Thank you so much again for tuning in. Last but not least, our friend Innocent from Ghana. Thank you
Yes.
so much, guys. And before we just jump into our topic today, please feel free to just ask whatever question into your mind about our main topic today, which is about the perishable products. And let me start the first question for you, Dr. Tarek, which is what does it mean by perishable products? And if you can you give us like some
Some
examples on the
examples.
perishable
Yeah,
products?
sure. I would just first quickly, I would like again to thank you very much, both Ahmed, for the nice invitation and this
Thank you.
session. Whatever you are doing something big. You are
Thank
doing
you.
the change that you want to see, and I wish you all the luck, prosperity in your next steps.
Thank
Thank
you
you so
so
much.
much.
And also, I would like to thank all the amazing audience joining in this live session, and all the other audience that will review it later on, maybe on LinkedIn or the other platforms.
Thank you, Tarek.
Thank
So
you, Tarek.
today you are going, or tonight, depends on the geography, we are going to talk about something that we all love, something that brings us all together. What is it? What do you think?
I think
Perishable
supply
product.
chain.
Supply chain.
Exactly. It's a very good answer, not the one that was in my head, but it's a very good answer. I'm going to talk about food.
Yes.
Mhm.
So everyone loves food. It brings us together. And there is an Irish proverb I really like that says, "Laughters are brightest when food is best." And
Yeah.
food food is essential, and food makes us survive and makes us grow and everything. But there is a dark side about food. Do you know it?
Yes, managing. I think managing the flow of the goods. It's in terms of
Exactly.
quality, safety, and service level. All of this, I do believe.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly, Ahmad. Like you said, the biggest challenge about food in general is that it spoils easily. It
Yeah.
spoils fast. According to the FAO, the Food and Agriculture Association, 1/3 of the food produced in our planet is wasted. Imagine
Wow.
33% of the food.
Mhm.
When we have places in the world that suffer from malnutrition or starvation
Yeah.
or famine, the planet wastes 1/3 of the food. And in supply chain, we call the spoiled product or spoiled food wastage. And
Yes.
it can happen across all the links of the supply chain from the point of initiation to your own table, or we call it from farm to fork.
Yeah.
So when we have this massive losses, it poses big problems and big challenges to countries, governments, and organizations, either private sector or government sector. So if we are talking about food, not food is perishable. That's one remark. Some food are not perishable. Some food that they don't spoil easily, like sugar, beans, some of the grains. But the perishable foods, which is, for example, fresh vegetables, fruits, meat, poultry, seafoods, dairy products,
Yeah.
these are suffering massive wastage on a daily basis. While
Mhm.
Yes.
just a small note here, if we're talking about perishables, not all perishables are foods. As in, not all food
Yeah.
is perishable, but not all perishables are food.
Correct.
Some non-edible products like medicines, as you said in the beginning,
Pharmaceuticals.
or
Yeah. Mhm.
or flowers are
Mhm.
considered perishable
Yes.
products, but they are not really edible. So the challenge in the perishable lies in one big in supply chain lies in one big spectrum, which is called cold chain management.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And by cold chain management is like what the company or the organization has to do in order to safeguard the integrity of the produce from the point of initiation to the customer's, uh, household or delivery point, by trying at most to reduce the effect of pathogens or bacteria that spoils the food easily.
Mm-hmm.
And this is by having a very tight and well managed, controlled uh, storage and transportation conditions i- in temperature, either freezing or chilling, and in other factors like humidity. So, that's the biggest challenge in the perishable foods. Failing to do that actually poses a huge risk to the company and to also the consumers. So some companies can easily go bankrupt if they have one massive contamination or serious illness coming from such of food with malborn disease or foodborne illness or something.
Yeah,
So what differs what differs the perishable supply chain from normal supply chain for any other FMCG or not even food products?
I
Uh,
think the role of quality jumps very, very high in this kind of perishable products. The quality assurance, the quality control role is top
exactly.
top in this perishable products, which we don't see in other products that have long shelf life. The quality team, yeah, has role, but it's not like crucial and important like
Yeah.
perishable products.
Exactly. That's the bread and butter of any perishable supply chain. We call it the golden triangle. We have the
Yeah.
cold chain, you have the quality, and you have the time.
Yes.
Because as you said before, time is the biggest challenge. For products that they have a short shelf life that goes up to few days, imagine all the stress on the supply chain to deliver this product from the point of initiation or production, call it a farm, call it a slaughtering house, call it a dairy farm, whatever, to the consumer. And this is the challenge here, that in normal supply chain, if we're talking about any other products, you can go and compromise between two factors. You can compromise between cost efficiency. Sometimes you tend to be a little bit cost wise when it comes to spending on the efficiency of your supply chain, or sometimes you compromise and decide to pay more in order to increase the speed to market or
Yeah,
the
service level. Yeah. Yeah.
service level. Unfortunately, in perishable supply chain, both are mandatory. It is not an option to compromise.
Yes.
You have to pay much because you are utilizing um, temperature controlled conditions in terms of storage and transportation, where, for example, the reefer container, we call it reefer in supply chain, which is
Yeah.
the refrigerated container.
Refrigerated, yeah.
Reefer container, I think it costs double or sometimes triple
Yes,
than
the
the
normal
normal.
container. You're right. Yeah.
And on the other hand, you don't have the luxury of time to compromise the delivery. So these two factors pose a big challenge to anyone who works in supply chain of perishable products.
Yeah, definitely. I like what you have summarized, that Tarek. And I think it's especially for perishable products due to the limited time of the shelf life. I think it's all about the sourcing strategy itself. That's why you will find that for these kind of products, you cannot work as a finished good imported. You cannot working a strategy, sourcing strategy, just to outsource a very just, I would say, long duration or a period outside of the country. That's why one of the biggest, I say, it, supply chain strategies, it's how to adapt for your sourcing strategy and how to come more near the upstream to the downstream, and how you can shrink the lead time, because the more longer that you have a supply chain network, longer supply chain network, I would say, if it's, we have normal route to market, you have your manufacturing, and from that point you have your the lead time production, you have your lead time for inbound, outbound storage, and especially if you have a distributor in the face of that, you are losing a lot. I do believe that many business waste are being wasted, as you said, from two terms, which is business waste and even people waste. It's at the end of the day, it's consumption. It's, we can use this or use this in case of the environmental, how can we be near to the environment, and how can we care about environment? So it's all about sourcing strategy, and it's all about how you can be agile and flexible and release or just shrink or lessen the lead time inside it. Definitely. That's
Very
why.
good point. Yes, yes.
Definitely,
Sorry
go
for
ahead. No,
interrupting
go
you.
ahead.
The point that you said about the wastage, by the end of the day, technically all food spoils at one time. Perishable food spoils very quickly. Actually, it starts losing its own value at the time of the production. So, and then value deteriorates quickly over time. Actually, in even societies, some societies are poorer than the others, and some rich, for example, in the rich societies, the consumer waste more after receiving the product. But in developing industries or developing countries, actually the waste happens in the upstream, where they have poor facilities to manage
Yeah.
store and to transport the products to the point of service. So yeah, strategic sourcing, as you said, is right, especially in these days, it plays a very important role, of course. The idea in perishables again is to keep everything close, keep your supplier close. If you don't have a close
Exactly.
supplier, try to develop a local supplier, try to
Exactly.
negotiate. Always have a contingency plan. This is my advice to anyone working in procurement or sourcing in FMCG. In general, in food specifically, and perishable foods, definitely.
Definitely, definitely. So this is would open up a new question when we speak about this topic,
Yeah,
especially.
exactly. Topic
So
about
many
the
questions.
pandemic. Yeah, about the
Yes,
Yes,
pandemic.
definitely.
How you handled the problems in the pandemic for the supply chain for perishable. As we know, all we will hit for with the
Challenge.
pandemic and very high challenge. Tell
it's
us
a huge
about
challenge.
yeah, how did you deal and what are the
Yeah.
challenges that you faced from your experience during the pandemic?
You see, I have a big network of friends and colleagues working in many companies, and I have the passion for companies that deal with food and beverages. And I heard two different scenarios, two different interpretation of the pandemic and its effect on food and beverage. Some companies claim losses, and some companies claim gains.
Yeah,
Some people claim that they consume more food while locked in. Some people don't. In perishables, I would say that the household consumption of perishables during pandemic increased, but doesn't necessarily mean that companies thrived during the pandemic, because parts of the business does go to other sort of business, like restaurants, like
yeah,
food service, where this chunk of business has been lost during the pandemic. But the challenge on the supply chain was increased because of the accelerated demands, and in some countries there were some limited time during the lockdown where people can go shop.
yeah.
So you easily have stock out at the point of sale, or sometimes you are, as employees, as a team in the company, or are abided by certain working hours. So yeah, it had a big challenge, but big learnings as well that people should put down in future occasions.
Definitely.
Totally agree with you. And the increase in demand, as you said, it led to a lot of out of stocks sometimes, and in some countries, and you had to deal with crunchy lead times and how you are going to supply the stores quickly and all that. It was really tough and challenging times. Definitely, I agree with you.
Definitely.
Exactly,
Yes. Yes.
exactly.
So, Dr. Tariq, I think
I wish I'm
one of
doctor, but so yeah, I'm in my way to.
you are already
Yeah,
confirmed.
Thank you.
So, the question that came into my mind, it's about the operational model, and the operational it's being used in supply chain. Based on your experience, what would be the best operational supply chain model, whether it's make to stock or make to order, in case of a specific SKUs or a specific specific products, especially for the perishable products. I would speak about it. So, what would be the first one? And based on your experience, based on your philosophy, how can a company rely on which model and why?
Very good question. Thank you very much for that.
Thank
When we talk about perishable foods or perishable products, we have to forget about the word stock. There is no stock.
you. Okay.
MTS is not there.
Yeah.
Um, However, you produce according to a strict and also not a forecast, because the forecast by the end of the day, everyone knows it's top level by product family. You don't have to go into details. But the food in general and perishable food in general is all about fluctuation and variability in the SKUs. So most of the companies that work on perishable foods or beverage, they rely on a well controlled and monitored allocation system. An allocation and replenishment system is something that goes together, and it mandates to the production what exactly the quantity per SKU that has to be produced tomorrow in order to be in the market by the end of the day, not even the second day, by the end of the day. And it depends on the company. The technology here plays a very important role, because this operation, this allocation and replenishment model, uh, in theory, it should be linked with the point of sale. Call it a supermarket, call it a restaurant, call it a convenience store. So, and it should monitor the movement of the products on the shelf vis-a-vis the expiration dates, and to give instant orders to the supply planning team to start producing and shifting the production plan according to these order triggers. So again, a big challenge. Again, something that not all the societies and the companies are executing end to end, because it has to also to come hand on hand with the quality, the traceability, end to end, and the forecasting. So you can forecast allocation. And in food in general, seasonality plays a huge role. Like our friends in the Western Hemisphere, a couple of weeks ago, there was the Thanksgiving, right? So
Yeah.
imagine the demand on turkeys at this time, around this time. So the people who do the forecasting, the demand team, when they do the forecasting, they have also to consider this seasonality in our world and other Arabic words. Ramadan season, for example, triggers more consumption of certain products that are not as much in need in other seasons. So this has to go hand in hand with a good forecast. So your forecast will give you a taste about what is going on in the company in this month or this week. But the allocation and replenishment system is something, not a daily routine; it's an hourly routine that changes all over the clock, 24/7, and that's
Yeah.
how a company can make it.
Definitely. Thank you, Tarek. Uh, I believe also it's the role, especially for perishable products here, it's all about the supply chain agility. And when I speak about supply chain agility, let's focus in two things. One, I believe it's from the manufacturing side or just the make side. It's all about how much spare capacity you would have, because you need to be responsive.
Yeah.
And the second one, it's how you will be agile in terms of plan. I'm moving now from make to plan. How you will be agile. Taking a frozen period or just having a supply planning period or just freezing the supply plan for 1 week will never serve the company at all, because as you speak right now and as you mentioned, it could be even that the supply plan on the resource itself could be in hour, and we can have the plan for today, and tomorrow it's open period. I can change it based on the orders that I could receive it from the retailer or even the distributor. This is just the two things that I could focus on. And the third one, which is, I believe, it's how you have a hybrid model in the supply chain strategy. It shouldn't be the same model that you can use for one SKU, all the SKUs. You can have the same route to market. Some SKUs you can have direct to retailer, from factory to the retailer, if we have the loadability, accountability, because this will serve you and help you even if you're working with a distributor, it will reduce your business waste. So all kind of agility inside supply chain would help in that point, I
Exactly.
believe.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think also the role of technology here is very important, as Tarek was saying, because this is fast-moving products, perishable products. We need to have maybe in some countries, you need to have collaborative planning, forecasting, and replenishment. You need to have auto replenishment. You need to be very close to the retailers. The customer
The,
relationship management must be very high when it comes to perishable products.
Exactly.
the retailers per se play a very important role, and educated retailers will make life somehow easier
Yeah.
for replenishment team, because they usually they are not going to to focus on each product in each company, what is going on, what is near expiry. And also usually in I'm not talking about the consumers in our areas, but also the global consumer are very much what do you say, aware
Hmm.
of and demanding on the quality and integrity of the product. So, for example, we have some studies that some consumers, when they have two stacks of products, both are freshly produced, they will always look for the production date that is further. So, in their mindset, they will say that this is a fresher product, although both are good for consumption. So also this plays it puts a big challenge also at the retail management. So having a very good team at the points of sale,
Yes,
managing
definitely.
the
Definitely.
logistics restaurant, and this is very
Merchandising team and all that. Yes,
120
definitely.
exactly,
Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Thank you, Tara. Thank you, Hamamsi. We'll jump into the first question from Dr. Lab.
Lab thing. Yeah.
Yes, and thank you so much for asking this question. He's asking how traditional supply chain management differs when we work in subscription economy.
Yeah, Dr. Leba, if
Dr.
you
Lab
can,
thing. Yeah.
Yes, Lab,
yeah.
yes. He is asking how traditional supply chain management differs when we work in subscription economy.
So subscription economy, I'm not familiar with this term. If we need some elaboration on the term,
Yeah, I
we
think we
can
need
discuss.
more elaboration about it, Dr. Lapsing. But I think subscription economy is talking about, I think, services or subscribing through the net, maybe for some products
Oh
or
yeah, yeah, on
services.
like
Yeah,
e-commerce.
yeah, I think yeah, this
E-commerce.
is close to
Yeah,
e-commerce and all that.
that's a very good interpretation. I hope that that's
Yeah,
what he means. But
yeah,
very good. Thank you, Dr. Leba, for this question. Yeah, of course, it differs a lot. And as Ahmed was saying, that this might remove some obstacles or snags in the entire supply chain that will benefit
yes,
both the organizations and the customers. So, and also after the pandemic, the rate of e-commerce consumption increased massively in many
yes.
nations, and the direct from farm to household delivery increased. But again, everything has to be in a good control, especially in the transportation and the storage, because one weak link will damage the entire efforts of all the team.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Definitely, I think you were working like with big companies like Amazon, for example. They are working on this kind of e-commerce. Like a lot of even of big businesses started to open here. If I'm talking about UAE, if I'm talking about the Gulf, during the pandemic, the growth of this kind of subscription and the e-commerce booming was amazing during the pandemic. Like growth was
of
double,
course,
more than double digits. And like you said, you have to qualify, like you qualify your suppliers, you have to qualify those kind of big e-commerce or subscription economy dealers or companies, so that you are make sure that your product is in safe hands and it reach the consumers in a good condition, as you said. And quality is the name of the game here. Quality
quality is
must
the name.
be
And
exactly.
time.
And time, exactly, yeah. The convenience, of course, but this is what made the growth for this kind of subscription economy or e-commerce is the convenience and quick time to reach the customers, and that you are sitting
Exactly.
at home just going through some kind of an app or something and ordering food, and the food comes to you directly instead of going outside and still
Yes.
putting some kind of uh, the mask and all that, and still people are health conscious and all that. So this makes their life easier
Yes.
to
Yes.
receive goods door to door.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As you said.
Yes.
Definitely. Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you, Tarek. We jump into the next question from our friend Innocent. He is saying perishable goods supply chain setup may require strategic sourcing with backup or alternative suppliers to ensure resilience and sustainability. How do you manage the supplier network to ensure same quality of products and services?
Very good, Innocent. Very good question. We were discussing the strategic sourcing in general. Then perishable and non-perishable, it's something that can differs in the way or in the nature of the product. But strategic sourcing when it comes to food, because maybe the ingredient itself is not perishable, but the
Yes.
once you transfer it to a
Manage
finished product,
parent, yeah.
yeah, for example, pesticides is an ingredient for vegetable farming, right? So
Mm.
pesticide per se is not a perishable product. Actually, it is again it's the bacteria. but but once you use it as a key ingredients, you have to make sure that it has the highest quality standards, that have the abide with the regulations and the updated instructions from the Ministry of Health, FDA, all these big organizations, in order to make sure that you're offering your customers the best quality product ever. And also, as I said before, always keep your supplier close.
Yeah.
Even if the product, if the ingredient is not perishable, maybe the packaging also needs to be very quickly, and the fluctuation in demand, and and the fluctuation and the surprises, the expectation management in perishable is very high. Now, imagine if there is a blizzard or some stormy condition at the night, you will lose all the orders.
The risk
Simply,
is
no one
very
will go
high.
out.
Risk
So
management
always
is
have,
very important.
or vice versa. If there is something happens and people are need to lock down, you need to go very quickly store food, so you will double or triple your orders in in just a couple of hours. So you always have to be ready with the supplier.
Okay.
Well
Thank
said.
you, Tarek. Beautiful. So we have the next question from, maybe it's somehow question from our friend Jocelyn Lee. She's saying, please address environmental hygiene in transport, monitoring, verification of verification. Extra.
Thanks, Jocelyn, for this very good question. It all goes into the big banner that we mentioned, which is the cold chain management. There is no joke in cold chain management. A few depends on the country, it depends on geography. Sometimes few minutes out of the cold chain management will spoil the entire batch.
Mhm.
Yes.
And even countries that usually are cooler than the others, the climate change causes difference in the climate right now, and sometimes you feel heat in places that didn't used to be that hot in the past, and so also not the temperature alone, the humidity and some other factors. So the hygiene, one of the part is the cold chain management, and of course choosing the best supplier when it comes to utilizing the reefers, the storage conditions. Everything has to be very clean and intact, and maintenance, preventive maintenance all around the clock. So this is that actually what differs companies from others, and this is what differ brands from others, if you allow me.
No.
Yeah, I think this goes also under the umbrella of like we have GMP, good manufacturing
Of
practices,
course,
for example, in
of course.
pharmaceuticals. This is very important that shared by governments, shared by countries, that or organizations and factories should follow this good manufacturing practice. If they fail in that, they will not be qualified.
You're not in the market.
You're not in the, you're out of the market totally.
And in the perishable food, governments, then they don't just frown upon companies who fail in the hygiene. Perishable food, it's a national security. Again, bad hygiene might actually cause severe illness to people. So there is no joke here.
Yeah. Thank you, Tarek. Thank you, Ahmed, again. I think Dr. Lab, he is defining the subscription economy.
I
Subscription
think
business
Dr.
is
Lab,
about the value of service for full life cycle on record. Can we give Dr. Lab something?
Yes,
give
that's
him,
very good.
give him,
Can we give him
applause,
something, please?
Applause, please.
It's something new for me. Just that's why.
But
Thank
I
you,
think
Doctor.
it came to my head now. I think he's talking about like subscription, like magazine subscriptions, like you subscribe to service or product that comes to you weekly, monthly, like ordering without putting an order. You're putting an order that's repeating. It comes to you weekly or monthly or yearly.
Yes.
Thank you very much for this.
Thank you very much for this.
Thank
the
you.
term itself is new for us.
It's new value. Yes.
Subscription business. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you so much. We jump into the next question from our friend Amir Ramadan. Hello. He is asking, do you think e-commerce will make huge retailer like Amazon more strong? On the other side, it can omit regular wholesalers from the supply chain manufacturer e-commerce directly.
Definitely. And again, the pandemic has proven this correctly. People really shifted their not because of the need. It was because of the urgency. People were actually afraid to go out during the pandemic in order not to catch any illness. So they tried and it worked. So they will keep on trying it afterwards. That's the future. However, don't forget the role of our simple convenience store at the corner of our house, in depending on delivering our basic commodities. That will always be there, but the shift between traditional and modern trade and e-commerce will not going to be the same like the last decade.
Exactly. And I think just adding to your point, Tarek, e-commerce, as we spoke already, it's very trending. And definitely it will cannibalize from the existing channels and the normal retailers, because if you just see the trend, what's happening in the e-commerce, it's growing massively with a double, triple every time, double or triple the annual just trends. So what I'm saying here, it's most companies right now, they start to focus on the e-commerce. However, one of the biggest challenges of the e-commerce, it's their bearable, I would say, supply chain cost, because supply chain cost, if you don't have the right network or supply chain network for distribution and transportation specifically, it will cost you a lot. It will dilute the margin. That's why most companies right now, they start to focus on the e-commerce, but definitely it will cannibalize from the retailers themselves, and they start to evolve their distribution network and their transportation network in the right way. So one of the things that most companies they focus on, it's the multiple drops. How can you work in a multiple drops and work and just to utilize your transportation, and at the end of the day just enhancing or improving your profit margin at the end of the day. But definitely e-commerce, it's very essential channel. Yes, it's very essential channel. Yeah,
definitely.
Thank you. We'll jump into the next question for our friend Ahmed. Ahmed is asking, what is top 5 most important KPIs in the supply chain?
So we're talking in general. I think we addressed this. So tell us in perishable supply chain, Tarek. So I think we addressed the top
Are you free tonight?
Give us 2 or 3, and we will.
Yeah. Again, when we come to perishable products, customer service level is one of the biggest and the most important level. It can be upgraded to the OTIF, on time and in full, where you are not only measuring the fulfillment, you are measuring the lead
On
time.
time.
And this makes a big sense when it comes to perishable foods. Forecast accuracy, of course, and the forecast accuracy here, although it doesn't trigger much changes, because again the market is very dynamic, but it will give you a sense in terms of the expectation, especially in the production lines and the packaging and sampling points, where they a little bit of future projection will help.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, supply plan, what do we call it? Conformance with the
Reliability.
plan, or
Yeah,
whatever,
adherence to the plan.
adherence or conformance, or depends on the culture of the companies.
Exactly.
Yes, also the forecast bias is important as well,
Yeah.
because when you
Definitely.
read the financials, anything that has to do with the financials is very important.
Definitely.
I would like to add the balance scorecard, and how we can engage the sustainability matrix into the KPI. And I think that when it comes to food and perishable products, environmental metrics and sustainability plays a very important part, and it should be measured and tracked by all matured organizations. In terms of packaging, in terms of production, carbon footprint, and the usage of energy during the entire supply chain. Because to be frank, the kind of energy and for cooling and freezing and insulation that is used for
Yes.
perishable food is massive. So the
Definitely.
work and technology here plays a very important role as well.
Definitely.
I like this one. Can we have applause, please, Ahmed, for this one? Because
That's why,
really very
wallahi, I would give it now.
really,
Thank
because
you.
most companies focus on the top and bottom line. They don't focus on the triple bottom line. And nowadays this is very hot topic, and people should focus more on the environmental
Of course,
goals
of
for the
course.
company.
Yes.
Thank you.
I
Great
like what
answer.
you said, that Tarek and Ahmed. If you allow me, I'll add something, and I believe just it's a sense. Just uh, one of the challenges for the perishable products, I'll take it from the retail point of view. Okay, if we work as a make to order, and we are successful in that, and we don't have any business waste in our supply chain network for the organization, or even at the distributor side, I believe one of the challenges is from the retail side, and how you are having your CDA or customer development agreement. And especially I'll talk about specifically the returns from the retailers, because it's your responsibility at the end of the day. If you're just the products being sold to the retailer, no, still you have challenges from the other side, which is your agreement with the retailer. Some of the products, and if I'm talking about a customer that is owning the distribution network, definitely you have to add all of this into the lead times to have it on shelf at itself. So one of the challenges is managing your retailer, because at the end of the day, you are managing your P&L. Maybe I will speak about at the sell in, but at the end of the day, you could have a returns that will devastate your provisions in your P&L, and will devastate your margins, and will take your top and bottom line to somewhere if you don't manage it well. So looking into the retailer and the inventory, the trade stocks, it's very essential for perishable products and managing it.
Of course, Ahmed, you touched a very important point, and actually a pain point in most of the companies that deal with perishable products. Um, and it's part of the tail management. Whenever you have products that you decide to kill or proceed with, it is all about the P&L with respect to the wastage incurred.
Definitely.
And
Definitely.
some products are having a big wastage by definition. Again, it has to do with the deterioration over time, and some you can always do better, and there is always room for improvement. Retailership management is very important, and again, using the technology, because retailers are there are a lot of retailers, and there are a lot of companies, so they are not going to focus with you that much. So using of technology in tracking traceability, expiration, conditions, merchandising activities, all of this with the handhelds, the replenishment team
Slaves.
use in order to do to relocate or rotate the products across the retails conventional. Maybe the products will move from key accounts or modern channels to more traditional or conventional channels.
Definitely.
As long as it's within its consumption life, you can always do some good discounts or promotions, or three buy three get one bundles or whatever. But
Yes,
again, it's a win-win situation. A company and the retailers should
For
both
retailers.
work together to achieve this.
Collaboration,
definitely.
definitely, definitely.
That's collaboration is
Definitely.
the key.
Thank you, Tare, and thank you, Hamamsi, again. We'll jump into the next question. I think that we have too
Wow.
many questions.
I think we will, of
So,
course, we need maybe more than one session, as I
definitely.
told
Yeah,
before.
Definitely.
because it's very
Definitely,
big
and
topic. Very big
Will be
yeah,
topic.
my
and
pleasure.
of course, if we cannot get all the questions, we will
We'll try to
definitely
cover it after.
try to
Yes.
cover it through us or
Yes.
through our
Sure, sure.
expert
Yes.
Tarek, of course.
Thank you.
Definitely. So, our next question is from our friend and lovely brother, Amr Nabil. He's asking, does the current crisis in China affect on the supply chain in the whole world, and how is it eliminated in your view?
Wow, Amr, it's a very good question, and it's very obvious actually. You can, as a consumer, you can feel it in the local store near you. Everything is increased. All the prices increased. What you can we can what I know, surprisingly enough, that the cost of convenient usual 20 feet container has increased by 10 times during the past
Wow.
quarter.
Yeah.
So imagine what is the cost of the containers would do on the P&L on the products and the prices and everything.
Definitely.
Of course, the crisis in China and but I don't think that's the basic rule or the origin of the problem comes in China as much as the effect of the PPEs and the pandemic, consumption of containers, getting them and not returning them back, made a crisis in the shortage in the containers. However, I think that one day this will balance out, and but it's not in the near future. I don't think it will be in the near future. But yes, it affects the entire supply chain in the entire world. Yeah,
I agree with you.
unfortunately.
I think it will balance out, but even prices will not reduce on the consumer level. You know, when you get the prices are getting higher and higher, it will not reduce. Maybe the
Yes.
price will stop increasing, but it will be
Yes,
Yes,
stop.
definitely. Yes, and I think just how can we eliminate it? I think one of the strategies that we always speak about it's moving from a globalization, especially for the
Localization.
companies, yes, into localization and even localization. One of the best strategies right now, and most companies they shift their strategies from global hub into local hubs. They somehow compromise a little bit on their margins and their inventory at the same time, but they know that they can have their business sustainability along the way in their local markets, because the pandemic has taught us many things, and the best organizations who learn and ponder and reflect based on the experience how they can be always sustainable, how can they serve their consumer or customer in the right way, not just
exactly.
focusing on a P&L only business pure, and as Hamamsi said at the beginning, triple bottom line, looking at it
Yes.
into it. Just yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
and the companies don't have to be that much lean these days, because the lean hype used to be there in the beginning of the 2000s, where just-in-time inventory. No, I am not a pro of that right now. You have to keep your safety buffer stock of everything, because things change from one night to another.
Yeah, because to
Definitely.
the very high volatility in demand,
Exactly.
definitely.
Yes. Thank you, Amr and Tariq. Ahmed. We'll just jump into the next question. Ahmed Qasim. He's saying, with current challenges in the supply chain, could we keep our sustainable target for perishable products?
I think yes, if the companies and the governments and even the NGOs I'm just speaking macro level.
Yes.
And that's not one single task, one single-sided task. It's a collaborative work because sustainability is no joke. We can see all the climate change effects that happens because of non-sustainable decisions companies and countries took many years ago. So yes, sustainability is doable if even consumers accept that they might have different kind of packaging, buying on bulk to save on the packaging or the energy.
I think
Definitely.
consumers not only accept that, but they encourage this. When they see a company doing
Exactly.
that, they encourage and buy more and even share more on social media. And the effect of social media now on decision making for people, effect of influencers. If you see any kind of influencers or any kind of people even using this product or promoting for this product, it definitely gives the company a big boost.
Exactly.
Definitely. Definitely.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Ahmed, for the
Hamamsi.
answer.
Thank you, Tore, also. We'll jump into the next question from our lovely LinkedIn user. I don't know who is he or she, but hopefully we will find it after this session. Thank you even for asking this question. So he's asking or she is asking how FMCG
Yeah,
company
that's a
control
great
and
question.
manage the return and reverse flow. I think it's very lovely question.
Very good. LinkedIn user, thank you. Yeah, managing the waste, reverse supply chain as a topic itself is huge, and actually, there's science behind it, and again, it's part of the sustainability because what do you do with the wastage products?
Yeah.
Are you going to throw it away? Where are you going to throw it? How you are going to make sure that it doesn't affect the environment? So, of course, companies with complete abidance with the regulations, the local and the regional and global regulations, they have to do this to manage the wastage and, and managing returns in terms of financials and in terms of physical movement.
Definitely. Yes. I think also just part of the control, we will stress also on the same point, which is controlling the reverse and the returns from, I would say, from a company or from a distributor to the retailer itself. It's all about setting the right policy and being just, clear with your retailer about your products. It's not playing the game push game, it's not playing the sales game, because pushing your stocks to from distributor to the retailer and having an abide policy that you have a returns, it will not help you. It will be like, a time bomb. It will explode at any time. So looking into what you're selling, sometimes even I know some organizations, when the retailer, they ask them about extra sales, they ask why you are
Exactly.
selling this, because
Exactly.
it will end then, because you have your baseline and you know how baseline sales, how it looks like, and how your promotions. If the customer, maybe it's a lack of capabilities, maybe there is something more, but this kind of experience, this kind of
Exactly.
skills we should have just to manage the return, because return, it started from the sell in towards your retailer and looking into it.
Yes, yes,
Definitely.
and again, it gives us the importance of the good. I will not say forecast. Forecast in normal products, you can translate it into allocation and replenishment modules.
And
So good allocation and replenishment module will tell you what each retailer require now from which SKUs at what quantity and what price.
Mhm.
Because, and also the trade marketing team plays a very important role in that area because not all products can go to the same channel. Some products are very
Definitely.
niche or
Mhm.
that are functional enough that provide, specific, functionality to the
Niche marketing, yes.
target niche or to
Mhm.
specific functionality to target consumers that are not shopping in this channel. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's part of marketing, trade marketing, and also allocation and replenishment system.
Definitely. Thank you, Tariq.
thank you,
Thank you,
Tarek.
LinkedIn user. So
I think we got
we'll.
here that our LinkedIn user is Ahmed Abdelazim, our friend here who
Is revealed.
gave mail. Yeah, he revealed who is the LinkedIn user. So thank you who
Thank you,
gave
Ahmed.
mail.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Ahmed.
Thank
Ahmed
you so much.
Abdelazim.
Thank you. Thank you, Hamamsi, also for revealing this. So our friend Ayman, he is asking, many companies in this sector are increasing the price nowadays, which results in unsatisfaction from customer side. So how do we decrease this dissatisfaction as much as possible?
Yeah, that's a painful question, Ayman. Thank you very much.
Very
Of
nice
course,
question.
yeah, very nice question. That's what happens. All the world is suffering from a price inflation, and it's combined with stagnation. So there is have something called the stag
Stagnant
stagnation plus
inflation,
stagnant
stagnant
inflation.
inflation.
Stagflation.
Mm.
So
Stagflation.
this is, yeah, the outcome of this is simply price increases. However, I think that it's what differs companies from others is how strong they can take the hit and try not to forward the price increase to the consumers. Maybe they can play around in their P&Ls to see how they can do the savings in other articles in the P&L, and they can again with lean efficiency, with high efficiency, they can work around the cost in order not to pass the impact to customers.
I think I like this, and also it comes here to marketing. How are you going to sell this price increase to people? So maybe you have to you can give some rewards. You can all give some offers before doing this price increase. There is a
Mm.
lot of ways to absorb
Yes,
this price increase instead of going directly into price increase to customer.
exactly.
So you are just
Definitely.
playing with the consumer mind a little bit before
Yes.
applying this price increase. If it's the only way, as you said, if you tried everywhere to absorb the price on the P&L.
Well said,
Yes,
Ahmed.
again, it's all about the strategy. Hamam Siantara, I think it's if the easiest way, I keep saying that, if you have some challenges in your margins, the easiest way, it's two ways, I would say. One, have a price increase. Two, remove the overheads. This is the easiest way if you want to have just uh, improving your margins. But again, it comes to the quality of leadership that inside the organization. If I'm looking about, if I'm looking to my revenue, I would say, so am I investing rightly before taking this price increase at any level? Am I investing in the right channel with the trade investment that I have? What is the ROI? Am I just measuring it in the right way? Because if I'm just investing in the wrong channels and I have a negative ROI for some activities, why don't I just reinvest this in another channel or another products I can support and have this incremental increase in my top line sales, which will improve by default my
Yes,
margins? And again, if I don't have any option except the price increase, how are we taking the price increase? Because I'm telling you from hands on, and I know my friends there. Sometimes you have a price increase on a total, niche or a total segment. Doesn't make sense. What if a product is a price sensitive from the market? What is the price index? What is my value proposition? All of these questions should be asked before taking a price increase, because
exactly.
people they think that I forecast when I have a price increase, I will have this incremental sales, and you will find that it's annihilated. Doesn't make sense. There
Yes,
is always a price elasticity. You have to take it into consideration.
exactly,
Otherwise, you will find you are taking price increase, and at the same time you are investing too much money from your market, which will compensate, and even sometimes it's offsetting. It's by negative.
exactly,
So
exactly.
yeah,
So it's not the easiest option. It's not the best and the most prudent option. Unfortunately, it gives a direct positive impact on the top line, which makes everyone happy. However, I believe in the balance of the markets and the supply and demand and the economy of scale. So again,
definitely.
that's what differentiates companies from others. Thank
Definitely.
you.
Thank you, Tara. I think we'll take the last question
Yes.
because, yes. And then we can answer whoever or whatever or wherever coming on the way. So we have our friend Kingsley. He's asking, what are the 5 basic steps of supply chain management?
Yeah,
Good one.
very good
Good one
question, Kingsley. Um, Supply chain management is like, the book, the epics, or the Academy of Supply Chain, they define it as the movement of products and information from source to customer, or from
Yes.
upstream to downstream, and vice versa. So the steps would be the people, the information, the processes, also the modes. What are the modes that are going to use, and what are the technologies that you are going to implement, and what are KPIs that we are going to use to safeguard and protect the entire module. In a nutshell,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Definitely, Tarek. Also, there is another way to take this question. I think it's about make, when we produce, about sourcing, source, make,
yes,
plan,
Plan, deliver, return.
deliver, and return. These, I think, the basic 5 steps. Like you said, it's like the movement of products from supplier to consumer, and vice versa, the way back. So
exactly.
it's about all
Yeah.
this kind of about all this chain and all what's happening between this. So it's a very big story. I think this question can take
Yes.
a whole
Just
session
for anyone who is
or
interested to study supply chain, or people who are from different domain and they were wondering about supply chain, I always tell people supply chain is intangible, because
yes,
usually when you say supply chain, people will imagine freights and containers and storage warehouses in their mind. No, for supply chain is a concept. Uber is a supply chain. Booking.com is a supply chain.
yes,
You don't have to have any physical thing in the operation, but connecting one point with another through the movement of material or information and services from one way to another, and vice versa. That's all about supply
definitely,
chain.
because the traditional way was thinking of supply chain always as logistics and warehouse, and that's
Yes,
it. Sometimes they add procurement, but no planning. Planning is like something new for here. I think
yes,
for the region here for the supply chain and the
yes.
reverse logistics and
So in a exactly. So in a sense, everything that organization does is supply chain, but it's how it's connected, except for the financials, where the financial safeguards the entire process and
yes.
the quality. But from the production to assembly to distribution to distribution centers to customer delivery to replenishment to waste, the reverse supply chain, all of these under supply chain umbrella.
Definitely. Exactly. Tore, we would like to thank you. I think as we speak, that time is flying.
It does,
Definitely,
yes.
it's flying. Now it's 1 hour and almost 6 minutes. We would like to thank you for your valuable time and for your valuable
Thank you.
experience and insights. Really, it's very valuable. We don't have this before experience about perishable products, but
Yeah.
definitely, I think today was an amazing values. So we would
Yes.
like again to thank you and thank the audience and thank my co-host
Thank,
Hamams for
thank,
sure.
thank the audience, of course, for their a lot
Yes,
of great
amazing
questions.
audience. Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
a lot of great questions, and thank you, Tori. Of course, I learned a lot from this session. Honestly, from your
My pleasure.
a lot of experience. So thank you, and thank you all, and thanks Ahmad, of course, my co-host. Thank you to all the
Thank you.
global
Thank you.
S&OP community.
Thank you
Thank
so
you, Ahmed.
much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And I would like to, since we are in December already, I would like to wish everyone across the world who are listening or will listen a very happy holiday season, happy New Year, prosperous with all the prosperous and success in the world.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
Thank you.
so
Tori.
much.
Great
Hopefully
way
we
to end the
can
show.
plan again one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye. Bye
Bye
bye.
Thank you.
bye.